Hello, welcome back to Think Rugby Podcast, episode number 27, I'm led to believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've got myself, Zav Kelly, and Andy Moore on the other side of the screen tonight. So, what we're doing today is we're going to break down and we're going to preview round 4 of the Six Nations, among other little things along the way. How are you doing, Andy?
Yeah, not too bad, Zav. I had quite a relaxing weekend. What about you? Did you have a relaxing weekend?
No, I played rugby for the first time in about 3 months, coming back from injury, and I'm now also injured again with a different injury, which comes in the form of a sprained AC joint right in my shoulder here. Thankfully, not any break or tear. Well, I guess a sprain's like minor tears, but it's not that bad. So I should be back in action in maybe, well, it says 2 to 6 weeks' time. But at the moment, it's pretty sore. So more podcast stuff to keep my mind stimulated opposed to actual rugby stuff. So I cannot wait to get digging into this episode and previewing the Six Nations. Right, okay, where'd you start?
Whatever you want. Could maybe start with Ireland, Wales on Friday night.
Yeah, fuck it, let's go for it. So I think Ireland, Wales, at the Aviva Stadium. It's nice to have a Friday night game again, I think. I mean, the first game of the tournament was a Thursday, which was a bit odd, but now it's a Friday night. I think it feels nice. It's a nice way to get into your weekend. Sit down, watch Ireland, turn up to the Aviva against Wales, who are on an all-time high after narrowly missing out to Scotland, thinking we could maybe do something, but they best believe that Ireland are absolutely cooking just now, and given the last couple of results, well, especially the last result against England, they were on fire. I can't see Wales doing too much, to be honest. Again, Wales will show glimpses possibly, but Ireland just now, like I'm kind of rooting for Ireland a wee bit. Maybe not the last game week, but I'm kind of rooting for Ireland a wee bit because at the end of the day, I don't want to see England doing too particularly well in these kind of later rounds, and I also don't want England being ahead of Scotland. So, and also Wales, for giving Scotland a scare, maybe deserve to be put back in their place as well. And that might be a bit harsh, but hey, it's what it is. Deal with it, bro. What's your thoughts leading into Friday night?
Yeah, I think Wales will probably be more looking for the performance rather than the result. I think they maybe overachieved is maybe quite a harsh way of putting it, but they maybe overachieved in how well they played against Scotland. I think they'll be looking for a good solid half where they're probably in the lead and then try their best to try and soak up as much Ireland pressure as they can. Bundy Ake, I believe, will be back for Ireland, so that could change the dynamic of the backs for Ireland. A bit more kind of grunt in the midfield. Yeah, I don't know. I think Ireland will probably win quite convincingly by the end, but I do think Wales are definitely not to be taken too lightly, as Scotland found out in round 3.
I think what you've got to remember is, and this is pure speculation, I think Wales are saving all the tricks up their sleeves for the Scotland game, but also for the Italy game as well, possibly. And I don't think they'll be overly concerned of the outcome of this game, as long as, like you mentioned, the performance is there and the progress and improvement is there. I think that would be their main point of focus for this game against Ireland. Again, Ireland's nobody's fools. Look what they just went and turned up last round, last match week and did. They are notoriously a very strong side in every single year. At the Viva as well, like I mentioned, I think it could be a bit, I wouldn't say embarrassing, but I think it could be a comfortable win for Ireland. Again, I would tend to agree. I do agree with this. What you said was half time. I wouldn't say Wales are going to be winning, but there definitely is going to be a fair contest. And I think as the game goes on, the strength and depth of the Ireland bench, maybe it's the game experience and game knowledge will kind of come into play there, and they'll just pull away towards the end. A bit like what happened to Italy quite a lot, or even Scotland in the game, and then other teams with experience and depth would pull away, which is a position Wales are in just now. But I think Ireland have got to win by maybe, I'm going to say 18 points to Ireland, by Ireland, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I put down Ireland by 15, so basically the same.
Very close again for ourselves, Andy. We're quite notorious for this. We'll see how the next few fixtures can unfold. So the next fixture, which was on Saturday, is the Scotland-France game. Now this, La Crunch, Scotland now or never, do or die in a way. Like, I mean, if Scotland come out with even a 4-point win, I am going to be absolutely over the moon. And I think every single Scots will be absolutely over the moon. For those who aren't too sure, and also France are the top two in the Six Nations as it stands. France, I believe, are on 15, Scotland on 11 points, so there's a 4-point gap, which is, you would expect France to be top of the table just now, but you wouldn't really expect Scotland to be where they're at, especially given the first game week. So it's a little bit remarkable, especially even last week. It was a 5-point win, but I don't think it really felt like a 5-point win, but just because of the lack of conviction, how unassuming it was. But we are where we are, which I'm not going to complain about. I'm not going to really try to play down too much or anymore. Scotland going to this game at BT Murrayfield. They've won at Stade de France, not often, but they've done it. It was COVID that kind of did it. They've won at Murrayfield as well lately, and again, France have kind of maybe had the kind of rub of the green and so maybe performed in this single fixture and more effectively, got more results as of late, or just historically anyway. So I think Scotland are going to have an extreme battle. I know Scotland have an extreme battle on their hands. I mean, France are France, mate. I'll let you go and give your tuppence worth there before I say any more.
Yeah, well, as you alluded to with the recent form of the two sides against each other, I think Scotland have maybe not gotten the rub of the green against France. I immediately think of the Sam Skinner try that was not a try a couple of seasons ago. That would have been 2 years ago, actually. Then Scotland went to France for Super Saturday last year, I believe. And although they lost, it was probably the best that Scotland had played in the whole tournament. And the year before that, I can't even remember, Scotland. I mean, you automatically think France is probably the best Tier 1 nation that Gregor Townsend has got the best record of, other than against England. But in recent games against each other, France have come out on top, so it's not looking too promising. But France, it has to be said, have been above everybody else in the Six Nations this year, regardless of whether it was a Lions tour last year or not. The quality from, I would say, 4 players in particular in the opening 3 rounds, being Louet, Biel, Biarré, Amos, Jalibert, and of course Dupont, they've just been brilliant. And I don't, other than maybe the Springboks, I don't think anybody can really contend with France at the moment.
As shown in the past fixtures, even the Italians gave them probably the toughest kind of game the whole tournament so far. I noticed as Italy could try to compare them to like the Springboks. No, you can't. It's going to be, it will be tough. And like you say, the last few seasons it has been France coming out on top. Okay, Scotland have given them games though, and that's the thing. The last time it was at Murrayfield, it was literally the matter of a dodgy TMO decision, which kind of I decided the outcome of the whole game, whether it was a win or a loss, and that kind of gives you a little glimmer of hope. But again, have Scotland improved more? Have France improved more since then? The answer is they both improved more, but which one? No, they both have improved more, like compared to where they were at. Sorry, but which one has improved more as a whole team compared to the other? Probably France. I think they've just got that a little bit more strength this season, this time round, and I am worried. I am very, very worried. But Scotland can only give their all. What about a team sheet? You think there's going to be anyone coming in? When Dempsey's back in the squad, there's a couple of people back in his training squad. Do you reckon Dempsey's going to be fit for a Saturday? Or is there any more news on that? Or is it just the fact he's back in the training squad?
I think he'd be back in the training squad, but he won't be playing if he's not fit because they'll need him against Ireland. But it would be worth saying that Scotland have been pretty poor at the scrum and hot and cold at the line-out. Whenever they've been challenged, they've been pretty poor. France have been that good, they've not need to worry or had to be worrying about their scrum. They've been that good in other facets of the game. So that to me just shows the sheer gulf in the quality between the two of them.
So you think like when the massive difference would be set piece, which is a huge part of the game. I guess you're right. Are right in a way. Set piece is so big. You can win penalties off scrums, off lineouts. You can get so much good field possession, especially if Scotland aren't great in their own attacking scrums, lineouts. Sorry, France could end up getting really good field possession, winning back lineouts. A little kind of knock balls in the lineouts if those not straight. Maybe that's a scrum down to France and things like that. So set piece is going to be huge on Saturday. I think maybe people aren't ready for that conversation to happen, which will happen just now is the set piece. Yeah, it's going to be absolutely enormous, which is enormous for France because France are enormous in the set piece. I mean, France play 5 back rows on the pitch at once as well, I'll let you know. So even in open play, they're going to be absolutely insane. They play Olivon and Guillaume in the second row, which they can't play, but they're notoriously back rows. They have played back row. It's almost like Fabien Galtier doesn't even just like acknowledge the fact that second row is actually a specialist position, and he's just like, no, you can go in there because in open play, you're nice and mobile, fast, got really good ball playing abilities, and again tackle and jackal abilities as well. So like fair play. So I think Scotland are going to have to really be alert to that, as every other team has tried to be and failed. That's going to be maybe one kind of thing that Scotland have to counter when selecting their own team. I have no idea what Tony's going to go with. I've got a rough idea for the most positions, but in terms of the ones that are a bit of a grey area of who should go where, I've also no idea. Especially the front row. I really don't know if they're going to prioritise having the strongest front row first, and then taking on a maybe a less experienced front row, or doing vice versa. I'm really unsure.
Yeah, well, I would agree with you there. I'd say particularly Loosehead and Hooker, probably more so Loosehead. I'm undecided with what Townsend will go for. He's definitely, I mean, we alluded to it last week, he's definitely been putting more emphasis on the bench and utilising the bench rather than, he's been reacting differently to how games have been going.
Yeah.
I put in for Schoeman, Turner and Fagerson to start in the front row. I could be wrong, but I think with just how the game in Cardiff was going a fortnight ago, I think that'll be what he will go with starting against France.
Okay. It makes sense because you don't want to go off to that slow. You can't get off to a slow start against anyone, never mind France. When we got off with it in Cardiff, but with fair play to Tony, put the subs on, it worked, paid off. But like I say, against France will have seen the game out before it'll be too late by the time we put on subs, if that was to be the case. So I do sway towards the side of starting your strongest kind of front row, starting your strongest team first, getting a good positive kind of scoreboard, and then trusting the boys to come off the bench to then perform and elevate the team the best they can. And that's my prediction. But in terms of predictions for the scoreline, what are you saying?
France by 5, regrettably.
I'm going to go big. I'm going to go Scotland by 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt the Think Rugby podcast to give you the Rugby Pod, where down the line I've got Jim Hamilton, who obviously always over predicts the abilities of Scotland.
He really does. But at least I don't do it all the time. I just do it once, or maybe once in a blue moon. I think when we both kind of over predicted Scotland last week, I think we both went Scotland by 50. Not last week, last week. Scotland by 15. I think we both went for something like that. Boy, did we get that wrong. So yeah, I think Scotland can. I really think they can. It's just again, it's just if and when, and just like Scotland are very like could have, should have, would have, but it's easy saying that in hindsight. It's time for Scotland to front up. Look, I would take a second place finish for Scotland, but I would really like a first place finish, and there'd be nothing better than defeating France, beating Scottish Gas Moorfield. I say every time, that's Scottish Gas Moorfield, going to Aviva, who have never won in Townsend's era anyway, not since like 2013. I don't think we've won there since, and then going and causing an upset there and winning and lifting the Six Nations. How great would that be? And then I'd wake up. But yeah, so I'm going to say Scotland by 3.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Scotland can do it, but I do not trust them to do it.
Fair. Okay, final game, Italy host England. What's your general thoughts on that? Honestly, I think this will be the game of the round. I'll let you have your Tuppersworth first.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting spectacle. I just can't see England losing after 12 games unbeaten, going and losing like 3 in a row. I can't see it. I just can't. England by 3.
Yeah, but everybody said that there was no way Scotland were going to win. They said Scotland were absolutely cooked before the game had begun and everything. Look, they absolutely dismantled them. And then even and Ireland absolutely dismantled them. And it was just like, well, Italy have honestly had a good tournament so far. They've played 3, they've won 1, they've lost 2. But they lost by 7 points to Ireland. And then it was like the narrowest loss to France by any team so far as well. And they did kind of have some competitive edge for duration for parts of that game. Okay, not a lot of the game, but parts of that game. And I thought it was more of a competition, that game, compared to the Wales, well, definitely the Wales game, but also the Ireland game as well. I just don't know. Again, England will target this game thinking when this game, but again, they may target it, but the pressure is going to be on them. The more and more they kind of fuck up, the more pressure is going to build and the harder it's going to get. Especially, and again, it depends on selection. I think Borthwick got the selection wrong against Ireland. Starting Pollock, I think, was really, really poor. He's definitely come off the bench and make an impact kind of player to kind of liven up the game. He got sussed out. I'm going to say sussed out, so that's maybe a bit harsh because he's a young lad, a very young lad at international level. But he's maybe not ready for starting and maybe still better coming off to make that impact. We'll have to see how Italy go. Maybe like Breck should be back as well, which is huge in the midfield. Breck's being back. We'll see if Capuzzo can pick up a bit more form. He played well against France, but it's his first game back in a little bit. So yeah, it's going to be really. It depends on the team sheets. We are saying this without the team sheets being out. I just think it's too early to call this game. To be honest, I mean, I'll let. What's your rough idea of a score or a score like distance? I'll maybe make a basis of that.
Well, I think it's going to be tight, but I think England will do it. They will win by 3 or something. You know, it'll be within a score.
Oh, I'm going to say England by 7. Fuck it. England by 7. I've gone safe there. I went too dangerous and too adventurous the last prediction, so I'll go England by 7. I feel.
We got criticised for over talking how good England were in the last episode. Shout out to you. I can't remember your name, but I read your comment. I was like, interesting. That's an interesting take.
I got absolutely found out there. Now, look, you don't go unbeaten for a whole year without being good. I mean, that's the point I make. Again, like, they've lost 2 in a row, and badly as well. So there you go. Maybe they just completely imploded. England were just very lucky with the fixtures. Maybe they were playing teams not at the peak of their powers and they were able to capitalise on it. So good home fixtures and stuff like that as well. Maybe I don't. Yeah, I've not actually deeped it that much to really. I don't care that much to look into it too much, so I don't really know.
The thing for me is selection's going to be a big thing because Ollie Lawrence is out injured, and the other big kind of selection point I would say is who's going to be playing at 15, because Steve is not a fan of Freddie Stewart. And as much as I think Freddie Stewart is the best 15 for the style of attack these days with the box kicking and, you know, tactical kicking and that sort of thing, even though I think that Freddie Stewart is a better player in that regard compared to Marcus Smith, I think he's going to put Marcus Smith at 15 and try and balance having Ford at 10 with Marcus Smith at 15, and I'm not just. I think that's going to be the undoing of England if Borthwick goes with that. I don't think it's a good enough balance.
I don't like the idea of it really. Yeah. I don't mind Marcus Smith at 15, but I just don't know. Like, George Furbank, I don't even think he's in the squad this year. George Furbank could be injured, but Furbank I was really impressed with. I'm surprised he's picked up form a lot, club level, but he was one. England's got talent, but it's out there. It just lacks the international experience, and I don't think Borthwick is in a position, or he's not prepared to trust going with talent sort of promise opposed to what he knows. And I think that's maybe where he's getting a bit unstuck. Maybe that gamble and risk he's unwilling to take. Maybe that's why Finn Smith's not getting a shout just now, and he's keeping George Ford because he knows exactly what he'll get with George Ford. Albeit I don't think he expected to get a charge down drop goal and 2 missed kicks for touch. But that's by the by anyway. Generally, you get a steady kind of above average performance by George Ford, but instead of taking the risk and maybe playing Finn Smith, for example, just one little example by the way, could be anyone, then he's keeping George Ford on the team. However, he did take the gamble and played Pollock, and it didn't pay off. It kind of fell flat on his face. So maybe he's got that in the back of his mind as well. Like, I don't know. Steve Borthwick, he keeps his cards close to his chest, so I'm not sure. I'm going to say England by 7 though. Yeah, for this game, and they might get a little bit of momentum going into the final game. Although I still don't hold a lot of hope for them, seeing who the opposition they're playing in France in round 5.
Yeah, well, one thing's for certain: England need to win it because I don't see them beating France in round 5, regardless of how the game against Scotland goes. Yeah, France will not lose to England in round 5. I'd be astounded if they did.
Most definitely.
But before we sign off and finish the episode, Sav, I have got one question for you.
Go on then.
What has happened to your forfeit video from the summertime that you still
I knew you
haven't
were to say that! I knew you were to say that! I knew you were to say that! No! Cannot just wait till 200 subscribers. Fine. I'll get it done.
He has
Oh, I
done it,
thought you
folks. He
forgot.
just hasn't uploaded it, and I'm just like, it's not that difficult. It's just, yeah, get the camera on the tripod, get it set up, and then away you
Do you know
go into
what?
the
I'll
water.
do it. I'll do it again because it's a lot colder now. So I'll do it again. How about that? Promise I'll get. I thought I'd go off for that. Yes, Andy, I'll get it done for you. If we can get,
No, you're not
let's
doing
see how
it
many
for me.
likes
You're
we can
doing
get.
it for the hundreds of people that have subscribed to us.
If we can get this video as many likes, as many comments, as many shares, and hopefully some more subscriptions, then I'll make a conscious effort to get it done as soon as viably possible, which probably could be in the next few days, to be honest. There we go. That's the answer to the question. I'll get it done. I do apologise, Andy. As soon as you said question, I knew you were going to say that. No, never mind. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, get involved in the comments, even if it is slating me for my shit opinions or Andy's very sensible opinions. Let us know your predictions. And yeah, don't forget to share the love and share the video. Right, that's all from me. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
See ya.